This is Blog Talk Radio. You're on live with Real Talk with Aries. Our topic tonight is getting to forgiveness, and there's a reason why I chose that song to Open Up My Heart by Yolanda Adams, because we have to open up our hearts in order to forgive. Sometimes that's something that can be hard to do at times, but in order for us to move forward, this is something that must be done. Today is June the 21st. I'm broadcasting live from the Washington, D.C. area, and today was a hot one. Again, this is Real Talk with Aries featuring Yonder. Yonder, would you like to say hello to our audience this evening?
Hello, everybody, and I'm waiting to get into the subject, too, because I agree with Aries, because we all need forgiveness. Man, I mean, from being a child to being an adult to just needing it.
And some people just don't realize that we harbor issues or things that have happened to us in the past from childhood that we carry on to adulthood. Callers, if you want to call in and join the conversation live, or if there's someone that you may want to forgive tonight, we can reach out to that person. Our dial-in number is 347-838-9038. Again, that dial-in number is 347-838-9038. But back to what you were saying, Yonder. Yes, there are so many things. We harbor issues from the past or situations from the past, or maybe it's something that someone did to us directly or indirectly where we just can't let go and we can't forgive. And, to forgive does not mean that you're discounting that wrongdoing or, accepting if a person did something wrong to you, but it's just letting go so that you're able to move on and those around you within your life can benefit from that.
Agree completely. I mean, it's sometimes that with forgiveness is you hold on to it so long that you don't even realize you're even holding on to it. I mean, it's just crazy sometimes, and people have to realize that it kills you.
Oh, it can kill you, and it can add to the stress, which also can kill you. This show is actually very much personal to me in my heart. Yonder, I spoke to you earlier about there's a situation, not really a situation. I had a girlfriend from my past. She and I were tight. We were like sisters or whatever. And we had a falling out. Yeah, it was something minor, but we should have moved on. But both of us being the bullheads that we are, we both went on with our lives. And I was told last week her father passed away. So my thing is, how do I deal with this? Let me go back to the craziest thing about this is just last week, I was preparing an email before our show last week. I was preparing an email to reach out to this person just to say, let's squash whatever it is. I missed a friendship. Let's move on or whatever. And I did not send it. 2 days later, that's when I found, her father passed away Saturday. So the day before Father's Day, got a message that her father passed away. And when I tell you that guilt and everything inside of me, it was like, whoa, what do I do? But, for myself personally, I'm at a point where how do I reach out to her? Because sometimes, we're able to forgive and we want to release things that have happened, but we don't know how to go about doing it. How do you can forgive within yourself, but how do you reach out? Because although say I'm ready and willing to forgive, that other person may not be able to. So how do you get past that when you're ready to let go? You want to move forward. You want to either embrace that relationship that you once had or just, let go to forgive. But how do you do that when you're unsure if that other party is willing to do the same?
But you know what? You got to free yourself. I mean, really, that's the biggest part of forgiveness. You have to free yourself. One of my personal things, like you said, this show is personal to both of us. I personally had some issues with my own father years ago, and I just got over it. The sad part about it is we didn't speak for years, and then we finally reconciled 1 year for Father's Day, actually in June. We reconciled Father's Day. He died that August of that year.
Oh, my.
And the sad part about that is I still hadn't forgave him. I mean, really, we reconciled, but I haven't forgave him. So, and the sad part about it was really nothing he's ever done. It was two bullheaded men being men, and a situation happened that really didn't happen. I mean, it was when you bullheaded, you think everything is something's been said or something, you think someone approached you the wrong way or whatever went on, but it really didn't happen because you're too bullheaded to see that it wasn't what you thought it was. You already had your own preconceived notions, and that's how a whole lot of things stop. Like I said, we reconciled for Father's Day, but I really never let it go until my first book came out 8 years ago. I was writing my thank yous in my 8th book, and when I wrote his name for a thank you, it was the biggest release I've ever had, and I was just like, this is crazy. You tell me I've been holding on to this for all these years?
How did that make you feel, putting him in the thank you and forgiving him after all that time?
Like I said, I didn't know I was holding on to it, and the sad part about it is I was talking to my older sister, and she said, I knew you was holding on to it. I was like, stop playing. She said, I knew you. I was like, it was, he was dead for years, and I released him. Let me see. So I had held on to, let me see, he died. So I held on to it for about 15 years.
And isn't that something how your sister noticed and saw that you were holding that, resentment or whatever it may have been, and you had not forgiven your father? And that's something that's also that comes into play is, when we're unable to forgive, it affects, and other people around us can see that, and it actually hurts them as well.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts them. And one thing that you picked up that you said was, you didn't forgive him until well after his death. Think about all the people and listeners and callers and everyone listening to my voice right now. Think about everyone that you could actually forgive within your heart for whatever case it may be, that are here living, standing, and breathing here today. Imagine if, or you may have been in a situation where you're not given tomorrow to forgive because either you could pass or that person could pass, and you would never be able to actually let that person know that you forgive them for whatever they've done for that wrong reason or whatever. So we've got to find a way to get through it. It would not only help yourself, it would help others involved. There are some issues, say the baby mama daddy, brothers, sisters, and so forth. You're holding on to resentment and things, and you're unable to forgive, and it's actually affecting everyone around you. Imagine having a child and you're not forgiving the father or mother of that child, and you're holding on to that. That child will see that, and they will actually, in some cases, inherit that same resentment that you have towards that person. So we need to find a way to let it go and it may seem like no time is ever the right time, but what if you don't have time?
But it has to happen. Really, you have to make up in your mind right now. Really, the callers that are listening, folks that are listening over the internet right now and everything, but you have to not find time, you have to make time. If today is the time you have to call, send a text. Now, we saw Martin take down, tweet them. You have to release this, because the hardest part about when you're mad at someone, the sad part about it is sometimes they're not even mad at you no more. And then we get, we get so deep into this that we don't even know, like I said, with my own father, I remember vividly what happened that day, and it really didn't happen. It was what I wanted to see. I was already mad at him for other issues, so it really didn't happen, but I wanted to see something happen that day, and that's what I seen, and that's all I could see that day. You're blind for your own foolishness some days.
Yes, and assumptions. We harbor feelings of anger, and we're mad at people based on assumptions. And that goes back to communication. If you have that chance to communicate with, I'm not for sure what type of relationship you and your father had, but do you feel that if you guys communicated better, that it probably would not have gone as far as it did?
And I do, and as you get older and you find out really his background was a non-communicator. So me coming from a communication background, my mother always communicated, but not knowing, we don't know the story. We just know what bad we see out of it. We don't realize the story of what went on. Like I said, he only did what he knew. And, of course, that ain't what I wanted. But it was only what he knew. So we blame everything on everything. But like I said, he only did what he knew. So, of course, that's what he did, and that's who he became. So I'm mad at that. And all the time as I go through life now, I always thought that he wasn't enough as a father for me. But as I get older, I realized that he really was what I needed. Because he was a no-nonsense man. I couldn't stand it, but it made me the man I am now today.
Callers, if you want to dial in, add to the conversation. Our number is 347-838-9038, and I offer this to you. This is one of the limited times that I will do this. But if there's someone out there that you want to not really apologize to, but you want to let them know that you forgive them for whatever happened in the past and you want to move on, please dial our number 347-838-9038, and we will make it happen tonight.
And now you just forgive them. Somewhere along the line, you have to call here and forgive yourself.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the points that I have here is sometimes it's not other people that we want to forgive or need to forgive. Sometimes it's ourselves. It's within. We may have did something in our past, may have acted out in some type of way, and we're the hardest. We are our own worst enemies at times and our worst critics at times. And until we forgive and release that within ourselves so that we know it's going to be okay. We know that it was a learning lesson in life. We know that, we're human. We're human. We can make these mistakes. We can, do from our past, have things that happen in our past, but we have to get over and move on. And that's that. I'm glad you said that, Yonder. That's one thing that we have to do is forgive within. And another thing is, if you don't forgive yourselves, how can you find it in your heart to also forgive others as well?
Yeah, I mean, we get so deep into, and then with modern society, the sad part about people as a whole, we treat our friends and our coworkers better than we treat our families. Your family, you get so mad at your family that you start treating your friends better than you treat everybody else. You be like, I don't have any family. I just have coworkers and friends and everything. And we treat the folks outside our house better than we ever treat the folks inside our house, which is a sad place.
That is so sad, because that is one of the greatest blessings in the world is family. There are so many people out here without family, and they don't have anyone with that blood. And family can be, those that you are not connected to by blood or whatever, but let's talk about brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. How many of you are out there resent or have a hateful feeling in your heart for a mother or father because maybe they weren't there? You're holding this and you can't forgive or let this person in your life because you feel they weren't the person that they should have been to you, or they just weren't there. There comes a time when you have to release that.
And you have to release it soon. I mean, really, and if you realize as you get older, and I always say the biggest part of unforgiveness, and when you didn't do somebody right, is when you go to a funeral. The person that's trying to get in his casket is the person who didn't do right by that person.
Mhm.
I mean, the person who cries the hardest. It's usually not the little child. It's the grown-ass adult. It's the grown-ass man or woman, because they didn't do right by their mother or their father, whoever's in that casket at that time. And you could see, like I said, it's some wet eyes up in there. But it's not the little kid. It's that grown adult who never came back home, or who finally came home for this or that or whatever. That's who you see. And they feel that and there's enough folks in each family. They always call themselves the black sheep and all this nonsense. Get out the black sheep mentality and just go talk to your mother, go talk to your father, go talk to your sister, your cousin, whoever you beefing with, whoever you were beefing with, or whatever. And it's some of them that are so far as it's childhood beef. Then folks are 40 and 50 years old, haven't forgiven this person.
For what? And what?
Somebody took your first boyfriend or girlfriend, your cousin,
exactly.
And you 50.
And I'm not saying if it doesn't have to do with, and this is just me, I know there shouldn't be limits on forgiveness and moving forward and so forth, but if they didn't harm your life or, kill or whatever, what is there that's so dreadful that you can't open your heart and move on from? We hold so much. We have issues, and you mentioned death. It's also weird to me that when death occurs within a family, that's normally the time when families divide over petty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes a time where you have to get it together, because is it really that bad? Is it really that bad? You got to get it together and move on, because, as I said earlier in the show, you're hurting not knowing, and you're disrupting the lives of all those around you within your family. Oh, I can't speak to Jimmy because Dan over here has an issue with Jimmy, and so forth. You have to move on. Brother and sister, you come from the same womb. Move on. Move
and
on.
it gets so deep. Like you said, it gets so deep that we're so caught up in nonsense that we just forget that we're all people. I mean, really, and they're all human. And okay, we all make mistakes. Okay, I was wrong. You was wrong. Matter of fact, it doesn't make a difference who was wrong. It makes a difference. Okay, I apologize. I still love you. Come on, let's go to dinner. Let's go to lunch. We ain't got to see each other no more. But let me get this off my heart.
Now, let's talk about in relationships, about forgiveness within relationships. There are some people out there who cannot forgive based on, say, it's a relationship they had in the past where someone may have done them so dirty that they cannot see past, forgiving that person. So each and every relationship that they're in, that new person is actually paying for something that someone else did from the past. So, people have to realize that in order for you to be happy. And I guess that goes with also forgiving yourself as well. But until you get over that, will you truly be happy?
And you have, like I said, one of the things that I believe in with relationships as a whole, there needs to be closure. We just break up the person. Matter of fact, we so modern, we just break up with them via email, via text. We Skype them. Hey, I don't like you no more. Bye. We change our relationship on Facebook. We do. We change our relationship on Facebook. We change our relationship on Facebook saying stuff like, your relationship status. You're not single no more. I'm single again or whatever.
That's because the internet has made it so easy to connect.
To be a sucker. It's so easy to be a punk. I mean, you got to stand me. Really, even back in my days, okay, you had to call them on that phone, on that rotary phone or that dial phone, and you had to call them. Hey, we ain't going together no more. But you had to text. You can just text somebody now, your whole life story. Bye, I see you. and then not only just text them, cuss them out. Tell them why they ain't no good.
Yes, because behind the keyboard, we are all bad mamma jammas. We can get it out over a keyboard, but when it comes time to forgive, have you noticed that, though? When it's time to forgive or to apologize or to move on in that aspect of it, they're not as bad when it comes to those type of feelings. But the other stuff, you're right about that.
Well, Ari, since we're making this personal, we don't have to go with names or anything. Is there any situation you want to have someone forgive? You want to forgive somebody or have someone forgive you, or?
We have a caller on the line that wants to join us. Hold on for a second, okay? And I will get back to you on that one. Caller, you're on the air with Real Talk with Aries. Would you like to join the conversation? Okay, I guess they didn't want to speak with us. Yes, there is someone, and her name, like I started the show off with, we were girls, we were friends, and some petty stuff got in the way, and her father passed away. China, this is to you. It's kind of dedicated to you in a way. We used to have this schedule where Yonder and I came up with a schedule on how we wanted to do our shows and so forth. But what we realized was within the weeks, so much stuff would happen within those 7 days that we got off of the format of setting a set schedule and made it reality radio, which is Real Talk. And after hearing that your father had passed away, I reached out to Yonder and some other friends and was like, how do I connect with this person? How do I like I said, we can be bad mamma jammas behind the keyboard. I said, there were some hurtful things that I myself had said, and I know that, I was wrong for saying them, but it comes a time where we have to move on, and I want you to take this as my sincere apologies, and hopefully we can move on and get it together. But I love you, and my heart goes out to you and your family.
Oh, now you got me all teary. I'm all teary now.
You gotta let it go, and my hardest thing was, how do I connect with her? How do I connect? We have another caller on the line. Caller, this is Real Talk with Aries and Yonder. Would you like to join the conversation this evening? Caller?
Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Burns. I'm so sorry for jumping on so late.
It's okay, Adam. We were just in the midst of the conversation of forgiveness and how to forgive and move on so that we can release within ourselves. I'm not for sure how much of the show that you did hear, but, Yonder was actually talking about how he had forgiven his father after he had passed and so forth. And I was actually speaking about a close friend of mine who I was trying to figure out the right way to let her know that we need to move on and forgive what happened in our past. So many of us, we find it hard to forgive, but what we need to realize is forgiveness is needed in order to move on, and there's going to be cases where you want to forgive, but that person may be dead or you may not ever see that person again, so you may not be able to have that chance in life to move on with that. So what did you want to add to that?
That's so true. Actually, I had the pleasure of being able to get forgiveness and give forgiveness to my father prior to, after us having almost 3 years without even talking. It was a really, really bad situation, and we both said some things that we shouldn't have said. And to be candid, at the time, I was too immature to understand how wrong I was, and from a biblical standpoint, I was breaking all types of rules because I was dishonoring my father and the very commandment that God has given us. And the thing that really, really, kind of messed me up is once I thought about it, I wanted to find out why I wasn't prospering in everything that I was doing, and I think it was because I was out of God's will. So what happened was, one day, out of the blue, I just called my father, and he took my call. We spoke for a little while, and I just said, you know what, I apologize for anything that I've done, and even though you haven't asked me for forgiveness, I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that could have went so many different ways because I could have definitely had my life shortened because the Word of God says, if you honor your mother and father, your days shall be lengthened.
Your days, exactly.
And had I not done it, I could have been on my way out. And you just never know how long you have God's grace to do certain things like forgive others. And forgiveness is one of those things that, it's a touchy subject, but especially for believers, man, I think it's really, really imperative that we all get to the point where we forgive everybody, because the Word also says if you forgive others, your Heavenly Father will forgive you. And you don't ever want to be without the will of God. Now, you may be saved and you're going to get to heaven. You're going to heaven, but what about the journey now? Are you going to be able to enjoy your life right now while you're here in the earth?
And what some people also fail to realize is when you do forgive, that's not saying that you're saying you agree with someone's wrongdoing or whatever. It's forgiven, so it's within yourself, within your heart that you're letting go and moving on.
Absolutely. You're actually cutting that tie between you and that person. See, the devil, and I don't want to get too spiritual, but
you can get however spiritual you want to get. This is real talk.
I mean, really.
Take it to wherever you want to take. This is Real Talk with Aries.
Good stuff. Well, that line of unforgiveness is really a line of division, and it's set up by the enemy. The enemy's plot and plan is to keep us divided. He wants to keep us from being able to prosper in life. And he knows that as a kingdom, we're put here to work together and to build this kingdom and to really live off of each other. And once we are divided, we have a line of division, and that's what's wrong with especially the black and white relationship. It don't have anything to do with your skin color, but it's the mindset that's cut a tie between us.
Now, what can we do? What can we do as a people here and now to, get to that point where we are there helping and uplifting each other instead of, like you said, dividing and conquering? What can we do?
You got to make a decision. I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what you want for your future now and for your predecessors. Like, for example, my grandfather set the environment up for the lifestyle that I'm living now. Set the life for my dad to live. My dad, his generation set the environment for the generation that's coming after them, which is us, who's living now. Now, I have a 3-year-old, so it's my responsibility to do the things right now to get in my mind that, hey, one day these folks are going to take over. They're going to be responsible for everything. If I'm not leading by example, if I'm not doing the things in the earth realm right now, how is the world going to be 50 years from now?
Exactly. We're creating legacies here. These are our legacies that we're creating here with our kids' offsprings and so forth. So you're right. You're so right.
Well, the Bible also says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Well, a good man and a bad man going to leave an inheritance. It's what inheritance are they going to actually leave?
Preach,
so you got to make
preach.
a decision. You got to make a decision what you want your children and their friends. What do you want them to inherit? Because at the end of the day, the only reason why, well, not the only reason why, but one of the reasons why I'm so excited about getting up every day and helping others that have nothing to do with me is because of my son. I want to make sure that he grows up in an environment and can live in a world that's acceptable.
And one other thing is, it doesn't have to be blood. I mean, your child can be that neighbor, that little boy next door. I mean, it doesn't have to be that child right there. We need to look out for all. No
Absolutely.
limitation.
Absolutely, because if you don't, you got to understand this. Everybody in your neighborhood is not related to you. If you live in a really small backward town, more than likely everybody's not related. So
Adam, we're gonna have.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna have to put you on. Your phone was breaking up there for a minute. I thought I was losing you. So what was that? Can you repeat that last statement, please?
I was saying that everybody in your neighborhood is not related to you unless you live in one of those country backwood towns where everybody is.
Hey. Watch out what you say about those country backwoods towns there.
but for the majority, most people live in towns where they're not related to everybody in that town. And that town functions with everybody in that community. Everybody's job, everybody's business is attached to those people in that community. So if you're not looking out for the people in that community all the way around, then somebody's going to be affected, and it's going to be in your household. If you don't treat your neighbor right, he may one day be the police officer who's monitoring your community. You want him to slip on his job because of the relationship that you built with him.
Exactly, I agree.
It's just like just living right, man. We have to make a decision that we care more than about ourselves, but the people around us, because the well-being of everybody else is going to make everything else increase. You know, part of the reason why our economy is suffering is because we don't support each other's businesses. You know, the person that, you know, has the money in their pocket, if they don't pass it to the person that does the car wash, don't go to the gas station and get it done by the machine. You pay the person that has the business or the car detailing place and get your car paid for, because what you're doing is you're putting money back into the economy, which continues to flow. So you continue to create jobs by dealing with regular people. We got so attached to this computer that technology has really ripped us apart from the relationship side. So we have to really kind of pull away from technology and start building relationships again.
Yeah, we don't know people anymore. We don't communicate. We don't do it. You could actually live your life in your home behind a computer. You can get your food you can order your food from online. You can have an online job, a virtual job. You can get your praise online. I mean, it's like so much stuff where you're right. We have to detach ourselves from technology. And with me saying that, it's something that I know we must do. But
absolutely. You know me as that marketer, so it's the same thing for me. But you have to be able to say to yourself, hey, we have to get back to loving one another. I just think about when I was a child, like, everybody, I can still to this day, I can picture my neighborhood, which is about 50, our street is about 50 homes on the east side, the left and right side. And on our half of the street, I can go from both sides, the family, the parents, children, and I can, like, envision it in my head. Now I live in a community where I don't know anybody except for my next door neighbor, and that's it.
Yeah, we live in garage community. We pull them to the garage, we wave at everybody, but we don't know nobody.
That's it. That's it.
Mm-hmm. But how do you do that? I mean, because, you know, I'm not going to say society, it's just reality. We don't know Joe Blow next door. I mean, that may be Jeffrey Dahmer's offspring or something. Do you know what I'm saying? So
I'm with you. People are crazy, but that's your responsibility to get to know them, because you may be Jeffrey Dahmer. But because you haven't built a relationship with him, you don't even know if Jeffrey over there plotting about you or not.
Right. Jeffrey won't get you if he know you.
Because you know him.
Or it could be also a case on a positive where he's forgiven his past, so he was able to move on. So, you know, it's a new person. So it's all of that. Yeah, forgiveness. You got to do it. Yonder, anything that you want to add to the conversation?
I agree with what the brother said all the way, like you said, and it has to go back. You said, got to go back to religion because, like I said, if by you forgiving, I'm with you with forgiving. While you forgiving your father, the word does say by treating your parents, you have long life. So I'm with you. Like you said, we were shorting our own lives. We were trying to die that day by not respecting our parents.
Now, what about the brothers and the sisters? Because we see that so often as well, where brothers and sisters may have done something in past, whatever, stole your socks or whatever, and you can't get over that. You know, we have to find a way to get over it and move on. We have to, for a better life, like I said, for ourselves and what you guys have also said, for yourselves and for your legacies. I call them legacies, our children, because our kids, because that's what we're creating here, our legacies.
And that's how they treat their kids. I mean, really, with my own family, my mother didn't have brothers and sisters, and we had uncles and aunts who they never came around. So as I became an uncle, I didn't know how to be one because you learn from what you see. My mother was like, they never came and took care of us, never came and did anything for us. So she was like, they not even uncles and aunts. And as I finally became uncle to some nieces and nephews that I really love, it was like, okay, what do? How do I step in here? I think I've managed to be a good one, but it's like I was scared. I didn't know anything about this walk.
How? Now, we've answered the why we should forgive. When is a good time to forgive?
Now. You can't wait. Really, we can't wait for tomorrow. Like I said, before we finish this hour out tonight, I mean, I want to apologize to everybody. I mean, really, if I did something to you wrong, if I cut you off, whatever happened in life that you might have thought I did, or if I even did on purpose, please forgive me.
Callers, if you want to join the conversation, our dial-in number is 347-838-9038. And again, our lines are open tonight. If there's someone that you want to reach out to and forgive, please do so. We'll dial the number up and we'll give you that opportunity. I actually, Yonder had asked me if there was anyone that I wanted to sought forgiveness from, and like I said, yes, there was, and it came like the worst time. You know, it's due to death, and so many times, death. What if you wake up tomorrow and find out that person that you were harboring these feelings for and could not forgive were no longer here? How do you move on? Then it comes to the point where you're going to have to forgive within yourself, and sometimes that's harder than forgiving others.
Or if you don't wake up tomorrow.
Or if you don't, yes, on the reverse side.
And you never forgave that person.
On that reverse side. So how would you be judged once you're trying to get through those pearly gates as well? And like I said, Aries is a Christian. I am a believer, but I'm not a spiritual leader. I don't see myself as being a spiritual leader, but this is reality. This is reality. This is what it is. So it's up to you to move forward and to release whatever it is that's harboring within. And stop affecting those around you, because that's what you're doing in a way as well, is with you not forgiving, not being able to go on and so forth, you're affecting those around you. You're affecting their mood. Like I said, you're affecting their environment. So you got to let it go.
And it becomes part of your DNA. I mean, really, we talk about how, you're exposed to blood pressure and diabetes and everything. You're pre-exposed to whatever your parents or whoever put this in. You're pre-exposed. If you had a mother who didn't forgive anybody, including didn't forgive you, and didn't forgive your father, you're pre-exposed to everything that happened in the household that you grew up in.
Because I think after a while it manifests into anger. When you're unable to forgive, I believe it will turn into anger. And then also sometimes it could turn into fear, where you're fearful of a lot of stuff because you can't forgive and release.
So true.
So true. Adam, is there anything else you want to add to the conversation tonight? Oh, I think we lost them. If we did lose you, Adam, I would like to say thank you for dialing in. We look forward to speaking to you again. This is Real Talk with Aries. The number is 347-838-9038. Callers, anyone else want to join the conversation tonight? Yonder, our board was but no one seems to want to speak again. Why does this happen to us every week?
But you know what? And especially with this subject, you got to think about. We do subjects that really people want to hear, but they don't want a voice. And this is one. I'm begging folks to say. Like I said, you don't have to call us in. You don't have to hit us on chat or anything. But if you're listening to us, take this take this to heed. I mean, really, call somebody, text them, tweet them tonight, tell them that you forgive them and you love them. I mean, who knows if there will be a tomorrow for you? I mean, or for them. The worst thing is to walk around with this on your heart. I mean, really, I've done it for years, and it was just like after I released it, it was like my blood pressure went down. I mean, everything that could go right in my life started going right, and it was just like, yes. I mean, and like you said, one of the things in the Bible that the Bible states is when you treat your parents good, you have a long life. If you don't honor them, I mean, that could be. I mean, you basically telling the word. I mean, the word is basically saying you're trying to kill yourself for real. I mean, and like a better words, that's where you're going at.
Carlos, I just received a text that there were some technical issues with those that are listening online. One suggestion that I do offer is if you go to the website and press play and your feed or the buffering is lost or anything in that nature, use your default player. This will play in your default player, whether it's believe iTunes or the Microsoft Media and so forth, or Zoom, it will play in there. And if that fails, you can dial in and listen. The number is 347-838-9038. You just dial in, and if you don't have anything to say, just don't press 1. If you press 1, then you can add to the conversation, which we would really appreciate. Really appreciate. Yonder, any other plugs that you want to put out this evening?
Not really plug, but I want to go deeper into this forgiveness. With forgiveness, it releases everything that you could. I mean, you have to think about the folks. I mean, like I said, we've all even hated for something that really had. I mean, we rationalize why we hate somebody, or why we don't like somebody, or why we can't forgive them because they
and you don't even remember. And half the time, you don't even remember.
You don't know why you mad.
And
we rationalize. We make a rational lies about it, like, hey, this is why I don't do this, or this is why I didn't, and this person did this, or this person. Like you said, if they didn't kill you, that means you can forgive.
But even if so, we may have people out here who have been, let's go to molestation as a child, or rape, or whatever. We have people that hold on to that where they can't go on. Their relationships suffer because they can't get over and go on with life because they have not forgotten or actually forgiven the person that did this to them. I'm not saying you got to forget this. I'm not saying that, you're saying, okay, it was right for this person to do that to you or whatever, but you have to find it in a way to try to release that because you're harboring that, which is actually taking time from your life. You can't move on.
And like I said, even if, like I said, somewhere along the line you have to do this because, like I said, I've been down this road and even down to relationship forgiving. I mean, really, I believe in closure. Like I said, we break up on it, call that person, be decent to that person, and tell them I don't think this is going to work, and I appreciate all you've done, and it's just not going to work with us. You ain't got to call them. You ain't got to text. I mean, you don't have to text them something nasty. This is why I ain't work because your head was big and you was this and that. We, we come up with all these reasons. If it's not going to work, just be kind and cool about it. Because I personally, what's so funny is with some of the relationship stuff, I have dated folks years ago. I'm in my 40s now. Dated folks 18, 19 years old that I see to this day now, 20 years later, and I'm glad I was good to them because actually some of them even work with me now, and it's like, whoa.
But they don't know how. That goes back to forgiving past relationships or whatever. It may be something in those people's past where they don't know how, or it's just something where I guess they're not ready. But they just may not know how because they haven't forgiven something in the past and may not have anything to do with that current person.
Exactly. Because we take off stuff from our childhoods, from our parenthood. We blame it on everybody else. And like you said, with that, you have to get closure. I have a friend who I needed closure with years ago, and when she came in town, I finally got closure with her. And like you said, the relationship with us was me. I mean, she was good to me. I wasn't good to her. Let me put it that point blank. I was too busy doing me and not doing what I needed to do with her. As time went on, when they eventually broke up, 20 years later, we talked, and I was just like, look, I need you to forgive me for this because I need closure. I was like, look, yeah, I was wrong. You were all I need to be, but I wasn't ready for you.
What do you mean by that?
I wasn't ready for it. I mean, the sad part about relationship is The one who teaches you the most or loves you the most, you don't love them like that.
That sounds like a topic for another show right there.
Yeah, they groom you for somebody else, which is so sad. And she groomed me for somebody else. She groomed me who I'm married to. I mean, really, the one who treats you the best, and you, like I said, and they groom me for somebody else. They get from fine wine to fine perfume. She walked me through a whole piece of life that I never knew nothing about.
See,
and I didn't appreciate it.
And was she able to forgive you for the wrongdoing that you did to her? Was she able to open up and forgive?
You know what? Yeah, she is now, but we talked, and she said for years she was bitter. She said, I was just like, I treated this joker like a king.
It will turn to bitterness after a while. It's wrong. We're not supposed to hate, but it can even turn into that.
And it did. I think she went. It's like, remember we had this conversation about the grieving period. She went through all the grieving period at one time, and then she was like, you know what? He was a really good dude. That was cool. He had his issues, but the 90%, let's say the 80%, the 20% he was a fool, but 80% he was a good dude. But that, like I said, finally forgiving her. Like I said, she told me and I guess this was somebody who treated me like a king.
Now, do you think that had anything to do with you not? You did say you weren't ready for her in that relationship, but do you think that had anything to do with you not forgiving or letting go of anything from your past?
Yeah, and like I said, I think it was, and you know what the sad part about it was typical. This is really, I'm getting really into my own situation.
This is real talk, reality radio.
It was my mother and my father. Actually, that's why I became my father. My mother and my father dated for years. I don't think that he was actually ready for her.
And
he was ready for a strong, intelligent woman.
You manifested into your father.
I'll be the first man. I became everything I despised.
So you became everything that you despised, and how did you forgive yourself? Did you ever forgive yourself?
I have, and it's like, okay, let me stop doing it. And then I started saying I came everything I despised. But he had his good moments, and he had his good days, and he had a whole lot of good qualities. When you're in something or you despise something, you despise everything about them. You despise when they walk down the street.
Yes. And you hold that within them. I know some folks like that where they may have despised, their mother, father, brother, sister, whatever, teacher, but they eventually, over time, because that's what they know, that's who they manifest into.
Yeah, they could do something one time, and you mad, like I said, you like, oh, man, look at shoes. I mean, everything they did, you ain't like their hair, you don't like their ears no more, anything. Think about it. When let's go back as childhood, when your father or mother spanked you, you hated them.
Mm-hmm.
They took care of you every day.
I wish they would get hit by a bus.
Mm-hmm. But you, I hope she died. I mean, but she did one thing. Come on, we all did. She did. They did one thing, mind you. They took care of you 365. They took care of you 10, and they took care of you for basically like 5,000 days already. So all of a sudden, you do something at 10, and they beat you or spank you or punishing you, and you want them to die because of that one thing.
Well, yeah.
Well, am I right? I mean, you want them to die. And then, look, think about it. You 10. When you get about 20 or 18 and you still do something crazy and they still punish you or whatever, they done took care of you for 10,000 days.
And you still, but it's funny, we do become who I say, my mother, I don't want to be her, but so many things, and catching myself, I'm like, oh, you acting just like your mother did.
And you know what? I even want to say I want to forgive my supervisors, all of them.
Oh,
ever had. Because, come on, I wanted them to die every day. Don't come over. I mean, come on, let's be honest. I'm not the only one like this. Come on. I mean, I had some good supervisors, then I had some fools.
I want supervisors. Come on now.
I wanted them to die before they got to work, man. I don't want.
That's taking it there. I don't think I've ever taken it there though.
Come on, you ain't want nobody to die. Look, you ain't want them never come out to work. What you want to have to? What you saying? Yeah. You ain't want them never come out to work. What you want to have to? We government workers.
Just miss the bus for the day. That's it.
No, I ain't want them to ever come back. Come on, I ain't the only one. I ain't want them to ever come back. So, man, please, man, let this car blow up or something.
You had to forgive, but you forgave and you moved on, though, correct?
Yeah, I got a new job, but please let this car blow up. I don't care. Shoot, let him be on one of them planes or something. I mean,
the hell with gasoline drugs?
Come on, but like you said, it's reality radio. I am so honored. It's somebody right now on who listening to us saying, you know what? I don't want to go up in that joke to motherfucker. Go up in there. I'm gonna hurt somebody.
You going to hell and gasoline drugs? We up here quoting the Bible 10 minutes ago, y'all.
I still wanted to forgive, but I wanted them to forgive me. I wanted them to forgive me because I said, somebody at work right now saying, if that joke coming here tomorrow, and then you know what, you got come on.
You know what we need to understand too is a lot of people when it comes to supervisors and our coworkers and those that we work with is they come to work and they're somebody they're really not. What most of the people we may find what I would call buttholes. We may have a supervisor that's a true butthole, showing all this authority and just being that person that we can't stand, but that's because they can't be that person at home in most cases.
Man. Like I said, and then you know how, with the modern days, you get compressed days and CWS day, and say if one of your managers is supposed to be off tomorrow, so you dressing down, you coming in, and then they come in and work you, or they already there before you get there, you like, this joker don't supposed to be here today. It just changed your whole demeanor. You want to sleep tonight thinking, it's going to be nice tomorrow.
But you got to get over that. You got to get over it.
So I'm asking all the supervisors who I've ever worked for, I've asked them for forgiveness. I mean, I'm glad your children doing all right, your mom and your daddy doing all right. I pray your car work tomorrow and all that stuff. Your vacations are good. I mean, I just want I want life to be good for you.
But I tell you a fool. You are a fool.
Come on, like I said, come on, look. I ain't want the people in West Virginia to be good.
Yonder.
Come on.
Yonder. I would like to, I'm going to tell you, you do not know how much I appreciate you on the show every week. I would never wish that your car would blow up because I appreciate you, and it's almost time that we're going to have to wrap this up. But what I wanted to do before we got off the air tonight is earlier tonight I had the opportunity to listen to Miss Tamika Williamson. She has a book out, and it's titled All Is Forgiven When Rooted in Love. You guys, it's not one of those big novels. It's a book that you probably can read in one setting. Mine is actually in the mail on the way. She was actually on Seriously Central, who's I'm going to say a sister in the Blog Talk Radio world, a sister station. And I was listening to her works and listening to, where the root of her book came from, and it came from forgiving. She talked about how she was raped, how, her family, things that happened to her in her past, how we come from those. And I'm probably sure some of you guys out there understand about the hush-hush families, those families where when things happen in a house, you're supposed to stay in a house and you're not supposed to speak no more about it. She spoke about how she was able to forgive and move on with that, and just actually helping others with her writings and her work. So if you can go to Amazon.com and not only pick up What I Do Is Taboo, books 1, 2, 3, and 4, but also pick up All Is Forgiven, and the author's name is Tamika, Tameeka Williamson. So that's a good read, most definitely a good read.
And Tamika, we have to do a book exchange. I'll get all your information from Eric. I'll forward you some of mine. You forward me yours, and I'll be featuring your show. You'll be featuring on ours.
Yes, indeed. That's what we want to do. We want to connect. As we said, you may not have to be my blood brother, sister, mother, father, son, daughter, whatever. We're all brothers and sisters in some way. Under the good Lord, we're all connected. So we have to promote each other, help each other, uplift each other, hold each other's hands.
And forgive each other.
And forgive each other. We have to forgive because forgiveness is a beautiful thing. I started off the show this evening not knowing where it's going to be, but I am going to make a call. It's 10:30 tonight. I'm going to make a call tomorrow morning, and don't know if Miss China was listening, but I really need to reach out to her because now is the time.
But you said tomorrow morning. What did we tell everybody? They need to do it tonight.
They need to do it tonight. Okay.
Send a text, do something. It has to happen right now. And I want to do one more forgiveness that Eric didn't talk about. I like to forget the people because they're not racist.
What? Y'all, this is a wrap for tonight's show. Wanda, I want to thank you, my brother, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You, my brother. And I want you guys to stay tuned. What do you know about your numbers? What do your numbers say about you? I will be confirming this weekend that we may have a special guest on next Thursday. Like I said, we're not doing the schedule thing anymore with advertising our future shows because within 7 days or within the hour of posting it, that could change. But I need you to think about this. What do your numbers say about you? We may have a special guest that you all, Yonder, tell them. They all they're going to want to dial in.
You will want to be here. This guy is phenomenal. He's world-renowned, been on everything from Michael Bays to Oprah. I mean, today's show.
Hey, you putting a little too much out there now, Yonder.
Okay. But you have to tune in next week. It's going to be crazy because once he gets on his line and you give him your numbers, it's over. It's over.
So we will have a definite confirmation on that by Monday. We'll have it posted on Facebook. What else do we have? We have Facebook, Twitter.
We tweet and we doing everything. We ain't even going back to MySpace. We going to hit them everywhere.
Yeah, they said MySpace. But I want you all to leave with this song in your mind before I die. And those in the DMV, please tell me. I know it's not me, but that just have a little go-go swagger in it. Let me know what's up. Hit me up on Facebook or go to my site, www.ariesthehost.com, and we will be talking to you next week. As normal, this show will be uploaded online so you can listen at your own convenience or wherever. Share it. Share it with someone that you may want to forgive or that you need to seek forgiveness from. Come on. We got to get it together. We are brothers and sisters. We got to.
Right before I die, I love it. Have a good one. Love y'all.